Last night, Chelsea destroyed Barcelona 3-0. But what I loved the most about the performance yesterday was how Chelsea earned their respect back from the wider footballing world. A lot of us never saw us destroy PSG 3-0, but after destroying Barcelona, our rise now is undeniable, and the performance yesterday reminded us of Chelsea teams from yesteryears and what they used to do in the Champions League. So my friends, I'm here to bring you guys the 5 things we learned in last night's dominant win. The first thing learned, Cucurella might just be the best fullback in the entire world. Now I can tell you guys one thing, if Barcelona could sign one player just like that, that's going to be Cucurella tomorrow. Because Cucurella is exactly the type of player they are missing in their team. And how lucky are we to have him? Not gonna lie you guys, it feels kind of insulting that once upon a time, he was seen as that original laughingstock, like the terrible big money buy that Clearlake shouldn't have bought. And now he's completely transformed himself at this football club. Yamal was coming into this game on red hot form. Red hot, and Cucurella knew he had a battle. But I'll tell you guys this, there was one thing that I clocked that Cucurella knew he had to do to win this battle against Yamal. And that was, he had to outthink him. He had to be there a step ahead, and he had to make sure, just as he did against Estevao, he gave no space to Yamal. Cucurella absolutely suffocated him. Yamal normally has at least a few meters of space to kind of think a step ahead and decide his next actions, but Cucurella did not allow him. And that's a rare thing because most times, fullbacks can't maintain that intensity. Yes, they might win maybe 3, 4, 5 tackles, but eventually they'll mess up the 5th one. And that's when the winger is waiting to pounce. And I'll tell you guys this, there's been a few examples where we saw Cucurella put in some strong halves against Bukayo Saka, only to fall off as the game went on. But we're seeing someone now that can maintain the intensity from the first minute to the last minute. And that's a big problem for some of the game's best wingers right now. Against Barcelona, Cucurella was a tackling beast. 7 ground duels, 4 tackles, 4 recoveries made. But his game wasn't purely about defending. He affected the game. And he did that with 2 big moments in the game, with the first one being the assist. And what an assist that was, because he came short and he was alert straight away to force the short corner, and then he drills it with his weaker foot across goal. Perfect play. And the second big action was getting Araujo sent off because Cucurella was also bombing forward to create triangles and connect alongside Enzo and Garnacho. Cucurella right now is one of our most important players, and you feel like if you don't have him for the big games, you feel at a disadvantage. And I think that is the biggest compliment you can actually give him. This is an incredibly intelligent player that knows how to play one touch and go, that knows how to play inside and out, that knows how to combine, that knows how to move off the ball. He is the perfect support fulcrum the team needs. And right now, it feels good that he is getting his international recognition. We all saw his form rise during Spain's Euro win. But not only has he maintained that class, it actually feels like he might have surpassed that right now. For the second thing learned, Estevao Willian steals the show. I have to tell you guys this, I need to be honest, but I just felt like tonight was going to be the night that Estevao really announced himself. Not just announcing himself to fans in this league, but announcing himself on a worldwide stage. Everyone's heard about him. This would have been the first real opportunity for the rest of the football world to really see Estevao up front and personal. And tonight, this kid delivered. Now, the whole focus was on himself and Yamal as that battle. Who would be the star on the pitch? And for myself, I just felt like this was going to be Estevao's moment. I said in my previews, he's going to score against Barcelona, and he did not let me down. But the goal that he scored, wow, sensational, sensational. I keep thinking that Estevao plays like he's an anime shonen character where he plays like he's the chosen one. There's just this flow state about him, this pure desire that's so infectious. And I feel like this is what makes what he does on the field quite possible. Because that goal he scored was out of this world. Arguably, the best score this kid has scored currently in his career. And if this is the best one he scored right now, I can't imagine what his catalog is going to look like over the next 10 or even 15 years because he receives the ball with the outstep of his boot. And I've always felt like with the best attacking wingers, they completely control their opponent. And what Estevao was thinking here is, I want to drag you wide before I wait to drop my shoulder to come inside to find the perfect opening to take a shot. And you see that perfectly in the clip because as he's dragged his man a bit wide, this is the opening now to drop his shoulder and quickly come inside, but it's not done just yet. He then turns towards using lots of quick steps to take him closer and closer towards goal. And normally for most players, the angle is just too tight. It's not big enough to really take a shot. The most you can do maybe is hit the post or force a great save for a rebound. But Estevao, he has that secret weapon, which is his right foot. And I have to say, I really liked Noni Madueke. I felt he was a bit underrated. But it took Noni how many years at his age to learn how to use his right foot as a real weapon. To think that Estevao already at 18 already has this mastered is absolutely insane. The goal summed up how constant that Estevao is. Like he's constantly making the right decisions. And this is why I've kind of just described it as a flow state that he just constantly finds himself in when he's playing on the field. Already this season, the kid has 11 goals and assists. And he's now made that 3 goals in 3 consecutive Champions League games. And this season in the Champions League, he has created the most chances out of any teenage player. Players that was doing similar things were your Haalands, your Messis, and your Mbappes. And it really feels like Estevao might be in that Ballon d'Or class of player right now. To score a Messi-esque goal against a Barcelona team that was once upon a time desperate to sign him just feels like poetic justice. Like honestly, as Chelsea fans, we have to really be grateful and lucky we have a level of talent like this playing for us consistently for the next few years, because it really does feel like with this kid under the helms, nothing is looking impossible for this football club in the next 5 to 10 years. But the third thing learned, we have our big game midfield. And that midfield is Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Reece James. They showed what they can do in tandem against PSG in the Club World Cup, and tonight, Barcelona had no solutions, had no ideas. This midfield 3 completely controlled and set the tempo. And they told Barcelona from the opening minutes, listen, we're going to harry you. We're going to press you. We're going to come at you. We're going to be proactive. We're going to set the agenda in this game tonight. If you want to be better than us, you have to outfight us. You have to outbeat us. And last night, that was simply impossible for Barcelona. Enzo Fernandez controlled the left side. Reece James controlled the right side. And Moises Caicedo was the general to complete things in the middle. That midfield 3 completed 6 key passes between them all, 20 recoveries in total. We saw fantastic slide tackles and interceptions to stop and nullify Barcelona attacks. And all 3 of them combined completely just bullied that Barcelona midfield. At times I was feeling kind of sorry for Frenkie de Jong because he was just getting targeted like nothing. And this midfield 3 played the most important part in suffocating Barcelona. And they did this by the use of Maresca's man-marking press. Now, one thing we've noticed under Maresca is that this team knows how to jump. And essentially all that means is that they know how to trigger their press, right? You saw Reece James on Frenkie de Jong. You saw Enzo Fernandez on Eric Garcia in midfield, and you saw Moises Caicedo dealing with Fermin. This midfield 3 allowed us to go man-to-man when we press, and that was what was key at suffocating Barcelona. Whenever Barca wanted to play inside to find the midfield, that was when they were at the most weakest and more susceptible to turnovers and dispossessions. And once that happened, you would see fast attacks created by Chelsea through their midfield. But not only that, on the ball, they offered the essential triangles to create those connections out wide. Enzo constantly drifted to the left-hand side to support Garnacho. It was the same thing that Reece James did down the right with Gusto and Estevao, and all 3 of them did this in tandem, maintaining the intensity from the first minute to the last minute. When you have a midfield this aggressive, this united, this on point, this physical, it gives you a ridiculous advantage in games like this. And for me, the midfield tonight was one of the major reasons as to why we secured such a dominant victory over Barcelona. We saw Caicedo make 2 incredible recovery tackles. We saw Enzo Fernandez have 2 disallowed goals whilst making the assist. And we saw Reece James make the assist for Estevao and create the domination down that right side. And right now, after securing bodies against PSG and now Barcelona, this midfield duo, James, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, might be becoming one of the most imposing midfield threes in Europe right now. For the fourth thing learned, Enzo Maresca is creating a big game record. We've seen Maresca turn things around for us against Real Betis in the Conference League final. We saw Enzo Maresca's tactical masterclass in the Club World Cup to destroy Paris Saint-Germain and shock Europe. We've seen him earn 6 points off Liverpool over the last 2 games, and tonight, this might be one of his best performances as our manager, as he masterclassed us to a 3-0 victory against Barcelona. And to be fair, this could have been a lot more than 3 if we had some of these goals not disallowed. Maresca is not only just giving his Chelsea teams the blueprint for success and to compete, but he's also tactically just destroying the opposition managers he's against. You know, Hansi Flick, Arne Slot, Luis Enrique. These managers aren't bums, these managers aren't duds. And I think the best compliment that I can give to Maresca is that his teams, they don't shy under the spotlight. They relish it. We've seen many examples from players talking about Enzo Maresca, saying that with him, they feel like they are just incredibly prepared. And when you're seeing the results right now, these guys was telling us about Maresca for a long time. And I think many of us should have maybe had more faith this entire time. Maresca's man management and tactical plan was brilliant. We know some of the key things. Number 1, how do we exploit that high line? Number 2, how can we use set pieces to our advantage? And number 3, how can we assert ourselves physically, and how can we assert the intensity with our pressing structure? These things are becoming the staple marks of Maresca's setup and system, and the fact that he's doing high-level ideas like this with the age of the squad he has, I think it's ridiculously impressive, and I think it tells you exactly that Maresca was always the right guy for the job. Just last year, he surprised all of us by becoming the new manager to replace Mauricio Pochettino. Yes, he had taken Leicester City to securing a promotion, but even Leicester fans were telling Chelsea fans, listen, he might have done that, but we fell off in the second half of the season. We ran out of ideas. He has no plan B. With fans growing very impatient around the improvements at the football club, there was a lot of pressure riding against Maresca. He didn't have the support straight away, and it's only been this season and these last few months and weeks that the home fans now are starting to chant his name and really understand the level of manager that we have. I think the moment that should have made all of us wake up was when the board went against giving him a 2-year plus 1-year extension deal and instead listened to Maresca and gave him the 5 years that he asked for. That's one of the big statement moments that told all of us, this is a manager that might actually have a game plan here, and he might be the perfect guy to work with such a young, talented, but experienced squad. Because his role then is, not only does he have to coach them and help them improve, but he has to also make a winning team out of that. And that isn't an easy challenge whatsoever. But Maresca is showcasing incredible adaptability, incredible preparations for his teams. The rare times he does make a mistake, the rare times he has made a mistake, he don't make it again. And right now, not only is he giving his teams a platforms, but most importantly, he's giving opposition managers a real tactical headache. And this ends perfectly on point 5, and that was Pedro Neto at false 9. Because if there was a move that really just exemplifies Enzo Maresca's boldness as a manager, that was playing Neto up front as our striker. He had 2 big money strikers on the bench in Delap and Joao Pedro, 2 strikers that the fan base expected either one would be starting in the game last night. But Maresca went for the unconventional striker, And it's his ideas, his methodology, his confidence. This is what gives us the advantage. And I'm sure this completely spun Barcelona, who are just not prepared to have to deal with the explosive pace of Pedro Neto. The idea with Neto was to consistently exploit that Barcelona high line. And when you think about the decision to start Neto over the other strikers, it just makes sense that you go for your fastest player up front. Neto was consistently making piercing runs through Barcelona's defense. These runs weren't only giving us the ability to play over them to make quick start attacks happen, but they were also made to completely disrupt that Barcelona defensive line, because that was the key strategy at play to give us the opportunity to exploit it and create the chances that we made. Yes, he missed a big chance, and naturally, he doesn't have the finishing prowess of the other strikers, but he wasn't playing up front to steal the show. He was there to make the team work. The movements pressing up top were key, pinning his man down in Harujo, but also making those runs to just exploit the shape and structure of Barcelona. It was an absolute masterstroke, and it's one of those decisions you see where it's like, it was so obvious. Why do you not think of that to begin with? I know a few of you guys in my comment section definitely put down Neto up front, and shout out to you guys for having that type of foresight. And looking back, having Neto alongside Garnacho and Estevao, you're going for pure pace demons to just exploit Barcelona's high line and hurt it as much as humanly possible. This was an incredible performance from everyone today. A great all-round team performance. For me, I know Koundé scored the own goal, but it low-key feels like Neto scored that based on how he kind of made that entire action happen. And now, I've been criticizing him for this, but I'm starting to see it now. This is now 3 great games in a row from Pedro Neto. This is the type of consistency I want to see from someone who has this type of first team credentials. And if this is Pedro Neto now showing that he can go to another level, bro, it's exciting times, man. So right now, my guys, they are the 5 things learned against Barcelona. Get in them comments right now and tell me the one big thing that you learned and surprised you in our win last night. Hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, it helps with the algorithm, and stay tuned for more on BlueLionsTV.